So we should be good on that.
I'll pick the movies that week. That way.
Okay. If you guys want to get Tom or whoever, I don't know how you guys want to play it, but
That way it's something you don't care if you miss.
yeah, my nephew's flying in from
Harry
Virginia.
Potter week, guys. Demon possession.
Yes.
Hocus Pocus week.
Stick it to salty week. We're down. That's what we're doing.
Demon possession
Totally
week.
doing it.
Dude, Vader.
Oh shit.
So we're going to start off with Constantine.
The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get your aspirin ready, people, because we're dealing with a hard case of sequelitis.
That was pretty good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right, all right, cool.
Sequelitis.
You wrote that down,
I
didn't
did.
you?
I practiced it before I came.
You thought COVID was bad?
That's so much better.
Wait till you watch these movies.
Wait till you get this case of sequelitis.
Damn it, that's better. How did you come up with that?
Just on the fly.
God damn it.
Because it's Jack Daniels.
Man.
Jack Daniels
We
week.
opened up the booze.
I'm leaving that one in.
That's fine.
That's
Okay.
yours. That's yours. Vader did better than me. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. In today's episode, we are discussing movies that are sequels to movies that we've already watched and
That are
reviewed
terrible.
and that are terrible
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
On
It's a
purpose.
very long, complicated process to come up with these movies.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So basically, it's terrible sequels week,
yes.
and we chose these movies based off of movies we've already watched on the podcast. So they had to be sequels to movies we've already seen on the podcast, and they had to be terrible.
Yes.
Wow, that's an acronym from hell. Right there.
No, right?
This was a hard week to get through.
Yeah.
Anyway,
was.
so the movies are Independence Day Resurgence, Speed 2, Cruise Control, and Escape from LA.
Awful. Yeah, you should have seen us come up with which movies we were going to
I
watch.
think at one point I texted you and I was like, this is like picking a method of torture.
like I had created a list of I think 50 movies, and these were the best choices from that list.
Because we watch a really lot of bad
Yeah,
movies.
we
on
really
this show.
do.
Honestly, I watched Escape from LA when it came out in the 90s, and it was awful. And upon rewatch and dreading watching it, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's less awful than you
Yeah.
thought.
So
Yeah.
if you go into it thinking this is going to ruin my life, I mean, it won't.
It's
The only
more
way to go is up.
it's more cheesy
Yeah.
than awful to me.
Yeah.
It's still Snake Plissken, but he's more of a cartoon character now than he was in the first movie.
But anyway, I am joined as always by my illustrious and talented co-hosts, starting with the ambassador of estrogen.
Oh, hello.
Hello there. Don't say that in her DMs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't do that.
She's been getting DMs and we're not sure.
Hey there, how you doing?
How you doing? Kiss by fire.
How you doing, Jude?
Good.
I'm the ambassador of dick.
Wow. So you like that love sausage on the boys, did you?
God.
I'm also joined by
I hear you're a woman.
author extraordinaire,
I'm a nerd.
Matthew Kadish. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And finally, the Klingon himself, the barbarian.
I'm like, what am I?
Barbarian Space Viking.
Goddamn Jack Daniels. Okay.
Barbarian Space Viking.
Well, you had that great COVID line earlier.
Yeah.
God, that was
I blew
so
it.
good,
I was
dude.
a singer.
Give and take.
That was it for the entire day. So I can go home now. So,
Matt Vader, what's up, man?
I'm drinking.
Yeah.
It
These
is
movies made me drink.
11:17 a.m.
I'm-
and everyone's drunk.
The high-speed boat chase made me drink. So, yeah.
This is going to be a great
Jason
episode.
Isaac's chest hair made you drink.
Get ready for this episdude, guys, because we're going to have some fun.
William Dafoe. So how you say his name?
Nice
Dafoe?
tropical shower.
It's like, dude needs a fucking haircut.
All right, guys.
Here we go.
There's the one.
Is that my F-bomb? God darn it. Wasted it.
Before we dive super deep into these awesomely terrible movies, a quick word from our sponsors.
What can help you take advantage of today's low mortgage rates and save money? Rocket can. You could save hundreds of dollars every month by refinancing with Rocket Mortgage at today's near historic low rates. If your current rate is over 4%, with today's low rates, you could lower your payment by over $150 a month, saving thousands in interest every year. With a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, you could consolidate and pay off high-interest debt, tackle home improvements that could add value to your home, or even set aside cash for your child's future education. We've already helped over 1 million clients just like you reach their home financing goals this year alone. So remember this. What can give you the technology to refinance easily and save money? Rocket can. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Savings are based on quick loans, internal data. Points and fees may apply. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing letter. License in all 50 states. NMLS-ConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
2020 got your life on pause? Get moving again at Planet Fitness during our big end-of-year sale. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, now through December 16th, and end the year on the right or left foot in our squeaky clean and spacious clubs. And check out the crowd meter in our app to pick the best time to visit. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, in club or at planetfitness.com. Deal ends December 16th.
Join one of our squeaky clean clubs today for just $1 down. Offer ends Wednesday, December 16th.
See club for details.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, real quick, if you like this podcast and you want to support our drinking habit, go to saltynerdclub.com.
Today.
Become a Patreon and help us build our studio and come up with new content and help build the brand and help be part of the club.
Yeah, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
That's right.
I need a new hoodie.
Go to saltynerdclub.com, help support the podcast. We really appreciate you guys, throwing us some cheddar. All right, let's get into these movies, starting with, we're going to ease in with this with a nice Kurt Russell movie. We're talking Escape from L.A.
Love me some Kurt Russell.
We have a soft spot in our hearts for
We do.
Kurt Russell here, don't we?
And John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I love John Carpenter.
Yeah, and of course we're joined today by Kurt Russell Terrier.
Yes, he is.
He's in his no
Our
cage.
new pod pup. So if you hear some whining, that's not Matt Vader. That's the dog.
Well, it might be me. I don't know.
You have been drinking.
All right, Jude, why don't you tell us what the Escape from L.A. is all about?
All right. 1996, Escape from LA was rated R.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Why? There's
I
no
don't know.
boobs in it.
It was the 90s.
there
Everything was rated R.
Everything was rated R in the 90s. There was some very scandalous surfing.
All the surfing was great.
It had a budget of $50 million. What do you think the box was?
Oh, not good.
48 million.
Vader?
62.
25.
God damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It made back half its budget.
Oh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, was the end of Snake Plissken.
Pretty
Yeah,
much,
right?
yeah.
It made 0.2 million more than Escape from New York did. So Escape from New York had a budget of $6 million
Yeah, I
and
was
it
gonna
made
say.
$25.2 million.
Yeah.
This made the same amount of money, but with a $50 million
which
budget.
really sucks because Snake Plissken is awesome.
He's
Yeah.
an awesome
Really
character.
is.
I want to see some more Snake
You know what?
Plissken.
I honestly wouldn't mind seeing an old Snake Plissken. Like have Kurt
Yeah.
Russell.
Yeah.
For sure.
With the cool beard he's
He
got
can
now.
still do it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Eye patch.
Kurt
Yeah,
Russell,
eye patch.
you hear us? Kurt Russell, make Snake Plissken 3.
Yeah.
Just make it happen.
You know what? If I don't know, it's not going to do anything in the theaters though. It'll have to go straight to streaming.
That's totally okay.
Make it an exclusive.
I would love it if they did something similar to what they did with Evil Dead, where they had like a limited series where it was the adventures of Snake Plissken.
Oh, okay.
You know, how like Bruce Campbell came back to do Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Kurt Russell come in and do like
Bruce Campbell was in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
Do other people like him as much as we do?
Yes.
Kurt Russell?
No, Snake Plissken.
Oh yeah.
Is there a thing out there? Is that a culty?
I don't know. The first time I ever
I'm pretty
watched
sure there
I'm
is.
pretty sure people know who Snake Plissken is and love him.
I didn't until we watched Escape from New York.
I mean, is there enough to like at least get us a Netflix movie? Out
Why,
of
you
it
want
or
to start a
something?
petition?
Yes.
go to
I
change.org.
100% do. I really do.
All right, let me set the stage for Escape
Yeah,
from
go
LA.
ahead.
So it's set in 2013. LA is
The
now
far future of 2000.
the far future.
Yeah.
In the
Wait,
year
what?
2000.
2000 what?
13.
Oh, God. They did it again.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Well, Escape from New York was the far future of 1997.
Yeah.
If you remember.
So this movie came out in 96, but it's set in 2013. LA is now a deportation island. An earthquake separated it from the rest of the country, which has become a moral society.
I pray every day for this to happen.
MAGA.
So anyone who is deemed immoral or unlawful is deported to LA. The president's daughter has had enough with her father's power-hungry hypocrisy, and she steals the black box, a powerful weapon which turns off the electricity wherever you point it, and hijacks Air Force 3, heading to LA to give the black box to her boyfriend, Cuervo, who catfishes her via virtual reality.
Jose Cuervo.
Jose Cuervo.
No, Cuervo Jones.
So basically, it's a EMP ray.
Yeah. So cue Snake Plissken. The U.S. government wants their black box back, so they inject Snake with a deadly neurotoxin and tell him he has 7 hours to retrieve not the president's daughter, but the black box, or he'll die. So Snake spends the next 6 hours and 59 minutes cutting through the gangs of L.A. on foot, motorcycle, surfboard, hang glider, car, sewer tunnels, helicopter.
Submarine.
He gets the black box back to the safety of the U.S. only to find out that neurotoxin was just the flu.
Bullshit. It was COVID. Oh, goodness.
Discuss.
It was, thank you, Jude.
You're welcome.
That was very good.
Who knew that they had COVID lockdowns in 2013?
Right? Yeah. I didn't hate this movie.
You know what though? Like,
it wasn't bad. It was about as corny as the first one.
It was pretty corny, wasn't it?
It's the exact same movie as the first one. Like this isn't a sequel so much as it is a remake.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that they spent $50 million trying to make it look like the first one that they spent $6 million on.
Well, shut up, Kurt.
Kurt
doesn't want us to talk about this.
He wants to
Make
be
him part of the
heard.
show.
We're going to have to. I don't know. There wasn't anything in this that was like egregiously bad. It was like CGI was terrible, of course, but of course it was. It was the early 90s.
Well, they hired a bunch of like.
I think Bruce Campbell was the real star of this movie.
Oh my gosh, I laughed
He was
so
the
hard.
plastic surgeon guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They hired a bunch of kind of like first time effects houses for this movie, and they did a terrible job.
Yeah.
Like the special effects in this movie were astonishingly bad, even for the 90s.
Yeah. There's only of course, the bigger action set pieces like surfing and hang gliding, like that looks terrible.
I could do that in my green screen at home.
Yeah, it was real bad.
I think I might do it later today on my Twitch stream.
But the movie itself,
You should.
put an eye
Take
patch
your
on.
shirt off.
Nobody needs to see that.
Jude wants to see that.
The movie,
like large fat guys.
the movie itself.
she's engaged to.
I'm trying to talk about a movie here, guys.
I'm talking about my man boobs right now. Okay.
Yeah, the movie itself wasn't that bad. Like the premise, okay, cool, whatever. Some kind of crazy super weapon the president wants back. But there was one moment in this movie that kind of broke my heart a little bit. The president, the evil president, is played by Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
from Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I've never seen that guy in anything except for Spider-Man. I'm like, Uncle Ben, why are you a bad guy? Kind of broke my heart a little bit. But Snake, like having Kurt Russell come back as Snake, like he was leaning into this role.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
Pure cartoon.
He went full on, like,
yeah, it was great.
His voice.
I think he threw actual gravel into his throat.
Yes, I loved it.
It's funny if you ever watch Red Letter Media, they did a movie called Space Cop, and Rich Evans, when he plays Space Cop, he's just doing an impression of Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken.
Yeah,
like when we were watching this movie, I was like, oh my God, like he sounds just like Rich Evans as Space Cop.
We need to come up with an excuse to watch Soldier at some point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
that's a terrible movie.
Well, we do have to do Kurt Russell week.
Okay.
It's on the list. There was
Overboard.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
There was a moment in this movie, I think, when he had first gotten into New York. I think it was
LA.
Sorry, it was. Yeah, see, it's just the same movie.
Yeah, it's the exact same movie.
He got into into LA, and I think it was after he met Steve Buscemi. It might have been before, but anyway, he was confronted with this like group of gang members.
Oh, the Mexican standoff.
The Mexican standoff, right? And he's sitting there, and he's like, "Nobody draws until this hits the ground." And he throws it in the air, and then he just shoots them all, and then drops, and he's like, "Draw." And I'm like, "Oh yes!"
That was in all the commercials. For
That was the best part of the fucking movie. Sorry. Oh, there's mine.
There's yours. It's over.
What were the rules? Was it Bangkok rules or Tijuana?
I can't remember. I don't know, but I just thought
some racist meme.
I just thought it was so funny. It was such a good moment, and it was 100% pure Snake Plissken. Like that's of course that's what you would do. So I don't know. I appreciated this movie as corny as it was, and as terrible as the CGI was. I didn't hate it.
Beat for beat, this is the exact same movie as Escape from New York. Like if you watch these two movies back to back, you'd see like every single scene corresponds with Escape
Something
from New
else.
York. When he first meets Map to the Stars, Eddie, who's played by Steve Buscemi,
Yeah.
there's a scene there where he like takes like he had just kind of like lost his only lead on the black box. And so like he takes this like, fold out chair that's just like lying on the side of the road and sits down on it. And he's just like, well, what do I do now? And that's the exact same thing that happens in Escape from New York. like seriously,
Ernest Borgnine.
like when I say beat for beat, like it's beat for beat. This is the exact same movie.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same length as the first movie also.
The creativity comes
okay.
with the premise and the setup of what happened to LA. I actually really thought that the premise of it was funny, like because I think this movie was written around the same time as the big LA earthquake. I think that's what kind of set Carpenter off on like, oh, maybe I could do some kind of Snake Plissken thing where, some post-apocalyptic thing happens. Because there was like the earthquake and then there was the riots like right after that.
Well,
So he kind of like, I think he had that in his head that LA could fall apart like real easily. So I like the idea that like, oh, the earthquake hit in whatever year the opening credits said was like 2000 or something.
I actually like, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter had been wanting to do a sequel to Escape from New York for a long time because Snake Plissken's one of Kurt Russell's favorite characters.
Yeah.
One of his favorite roles.
This came out how many years after the first one? Like 13?
88 to 96, I think.
Yeah. So 13.
Yeah.
But so Kurt Russell and John Carpenter had been kind of kicking around ideas
81 to 96, sorry.
They'd been kicking around ideas for, a sequel to this. And it just never really materialized until like Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, and Deborah Hill all got together, and they were like the original trio behind the first movie. And Kurt Russell kind of used some of his like star power with, I believe it was Paramount at the time, to get this movie financed. And this movie was basically entirely due to Sherry Lansing, who used to run Paramount Studios. And I actually worked at Paramount while she was running things. And everyone hated her because she consistently made bad choices in movies.
Oh no.
And even though this was like from a financial standpoint, a bad choice, like as a geek, like this was probably her crowning achievement. So like Kurt Russell basically convinced Sherry Lansing to finance this movie. And this is the first and only writing credit Kurt Russell has ever had because he co-wrote this with John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And basically like, they just took the script from Escape from New York and just changed the locations.
Yeah.
But Kurt Russell came up with the ending for this movie, and he came up with kind of the premise of, having a president who gets inaugurated for life, and he's like this kind of moral preacher. Well, I think they modeled him after Pat Robertson,
I don't know
the
who that is.
televangelist.
Oh, okay. Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that.
What studio put this out?
Paramount, I think.
Okay. I'm tweeting them right now. So
What are you doing?
I'm telling them I want a new movie.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Originally, they wanted Donald Pleasance to come back to play the president, but unfortunately, his health was declining at the time, and so like he was unable to do it. And once they realized they weren't going to be able to get him back, they were like, okay, we're going to just have a whole new president come in and take over the role.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it made me sad that it was Uncle Ben, but he did fine. He was serviceable in the role as a bad guy.
Yeah, we had like Stacy Keach as like the head warden this time around.
There's a lot of recognizable faces in this movie for sure.
Oh yeah, like Pam Grier, Steve Buscemi, Peter Fonda,
Bruce Campbell?
Bruce Campbell.
He's not recognizable.
No.
Because I saw him in opening credits. I was like, Bruce Campbell's in this movie? And then I kept an eye out for him. I was like, I didn't see him
could
anywhere.
only tell because I recognized his voice.
Around this time, I was like corresponding with Bruce Campbell over like AOL. like he used to go into the Evil Dead chat rooms, and I was like big into Evil Dead. So like I was always in there. And one day he private messaged me and he was like, hey, I see you asking all these questions. Like, why don't you just ask me like over email or whatever? And that's how I got to know Bruce Campbell. Like he actually called me on the phone. We would chat.
That's so cool.
Yeah. He's an amazing guy. He sent me like an autographed picture and all this other stuff. But like when this movie came out, like the only reason I really saw it because like I hadn't seen, like I wasn't really a big fan of Escape from New York at the time. And I had yet to go through my John Carpenter phase.
Yeah.
So the only reason I went to see this was because I wanted to see Bruce Campbell. And he was creepy as hell.
So the Snake gets captured by this, I guess, group of hooligans or whatever, and they bring him down to the sewers in this underground level where he's getting captured with this chick that he's with. I honestly completely forgot.
It wasn't the sewers. It was the old Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yep.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they had taken over the Beverly Hills Hotel, which, if you've ever lived in LA, the Beverly Hills Hotel is like a mainstay. Like a lot of celebrities go there and hang out. And basically, they were all plastic surgery rejects, where basically the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills is this plastic surgeon who harvests body parts from other, normal people.
Yeah.
And then uses them to, quote unquote, enhance his minions.
I thought the premise of that was freaking hilarious. Like, what a commentary.
They're walking around with a tray of ears and stuff.
Yeah, and everybody's disformed and all their plastic surgery's gone too far.
Their cheekbones
protruding out of their faces.
Mountainous.
I was picturing that people from that Twilight Zone episode with the pig people.
Yeah.
Noses stuck up.
It just made me laugh because it was such a little dig at Silicon Valley, all the people out there are all obsessed with their looks and they're all getting plastic surgery, and what happens in the apocalypse when these people can't get real good plastic surgery
their
anymore?
faces fall off.
Their faces fall off and they turn into freaks.
Yeah. And this movie, it also incorporates drive-by shootings.
Every LA trope.
Yeah, the whole third act of this movie takes place in what's supposed to be Disneyland in Anaheim, but Disney didn't want any association with this movie, so they they had to call it the Magic Kingdom. Or
Can you imagine
like
if they put the Cinderella's castle in the background of one of the scenes?
Well, that would have been rare. They had that.
Did they have it?
They had that. Yeah.
Oh man,
it was very obviously Disneyland.
Yeah.
Because they showed some wide shots and stuff like that, and it was all CGI'd. But Disney was officially, we want nothing to do with this movie. And they also had the Queen Mary, the big cruise ship.
Yeah, it's still sitting out there in the LA docks.
I liked it when they were in the Coliseum doing the gladiator stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Basketball.
Did they
the
film it
basketball
there?
game, is that what that was? So
Because
weird.
that looks like they're actually in the Coliseum to me. So I didn't know if that was a set or not.
No,
So
I think that they rented out the place and dressed it up and stuff like that.
threw a bunch of shit all over the ground.
One of the reasons this movie cost so much is because they actually shot it in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it was on I want to say the Paramount backlot, where they created Sunset Boulevard, which was just all rubble, basically. But it's kind of funny because so Kurt Russell actually, he kept his old Snake Plissken outfit from Escape from New York. And when they were doing this movie, he took it out of his closet, dusted it off, and he's like, still fits. And that's what he was wearing in the movie.
I bet it still fits him now.
Yeah, it might. He's a healthy dude. I was watching an interview with him, and he was talking about that very thing about his costume still fitting. And he's like, "Yeah, Goldie's got a really good diet, and I just eat her leftovers, so I must have a good diet too."
I'll bet he does. Sorry, it's the Jack Daniels.
Well, it's funny. Goldie Hawn was originally going to play the president's daughter.
Oh, really?
In this movie, and before they start shooting, she got some type of disease.
Oh no,
Disease.
Yeah,
COVID.
Yeah, she just got really sick, and
Was
so
it the
they had
cancer
to replace
pussy?
her. It might have been. Yeah.
Did you guys know that
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
that Wyatt had a cameo in this movie? Yeah, remember Wyatt Russell from Overlord, which we did a review on. He's a young kid. He's 10 years old.
that's
He's
awesome.
an extra in this movie. I thought that was super cool. I didn't notice it when I was
how
watching
cute.
it, but I saw the behind the scenes footage, and Kurt was talking about bringing his son on set, and I wanted to show him that this business is fun and it can be fun.
He can be Snake Plissken's son.
He could. Yeah.
We're gonna write this movie.
You're gonna write. Where's he gonna escape from next? Escape from Las Vegas.
Portland.
So funny
Las
story.
Vegas wouldn't be bad.
Portland's already freaking.
It's already a shithole, isn't it?
Well, funny story. So John Carpenter, he made this movie called Ghost of Mars, and that was originally supposed to be the follow-up to Escape from LA, where it was going to be Escape from Mars. And so if you ever watch Ghost of Mars with Ice Cube and a bunch of other actors,
That's a terrible movie.
Sounds like I need to watch this movie.
We do.
it's really bad. But originally that script was supposed to be about Snake Plissken escaping Mars, and instead of the world was putting prisoners up on Mars, and that's what all the freaks in Mars were coming from. And so he's sent up there to rescue someone, and then he has to escape Mars. And after this movie bombed so badly, nobody was going to ever do another escape movie. So John Carpenter just took that script and turned it into Ghost of Mars.
There's another movie that reminds me a lot like that. I think it's called Lockdown or
Yeah.
Lockout. It's got Jeffrey, what's his name?
No, it's
Pierce. God, what's his name? He's in Memento.
Guy Pearce.
Guy
Guy
Pearce.
Pearce.
Okay, Guy Pearce. Yeah, Guy Pearce basically plays Snake Plissken in this movie.
It's pretty much Die Hard in space.
Do you think it was more Die Hard?
Yeah, pretty much.
And either way, it was a ton of fun.
But he has to go to a space prison to rescue the president's daughter.
Yeah. I'm like, this is Escape from LA.
Didn't Christopher Lambert make a movie like that?
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure the movie's been made like a million times.
Jude, what did you think about this movie?
Okay, I watched this in 96 when it came out.
Okay.
I watched this movie before I ever watched Escape from New York.
Oh, okay.
So this was my first impression. And I hated it. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
So, and I haven't watched it since. So rewatching it this week for the podcast, this was my favorite, I guess, of
the three?
of anything that we watched this
No,
week
by
for
far.
the podcast.
By far, yeah, by far.
Yeah, so it wasn't terrible. It was cheesy. I could appreciate it, and also at the same time be like, "Wow, this is shitty."
Yeah. Would you classify it as like a guilty pleasure?
No,
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever watch this movie.
I mean, I'll admit I've watched this movie a few times.
Have you?
Yeah.
You'll admit like it's something
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do.
Yes.
I give it like 2.5 out of 5
I mean-
flu shots.
Okay.
It's not a good movie.
No,
but
it's not.
it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And if you're like into Snake Plissken stuff, then yeah, it's
got-
cool.
We did learn that Snake Plissken has a first name in this movie. His name's Robert.
Robert Pliskin?
Yeah, Bob Pliskin.
Bob.
Basically.
Bob Plisken. What's up, Bob?
Bob Pliskin. That's good.
But I just love how like they kind of expand the snake mythos in this movie. It's like, like there's this whole thing about like something happened in Cleveland and we never really find out what.
Yeah.
But like there's like a whole I know there's a
Oh,
comic.
they should do the prequel, Escape from Cleveland.
Well, they did that in a comic book. It was
In a comic book?
Yeah, there was an Escape from Cleveland comic book that kind of goes through what happened in Cleveland.
So you're saying there's source material.
Yes, there's source material. We also get the thing where like in the first movie, it was always, I thought you were dead. In this movie, it's I thought you were taller. And it's kind of funny because like in LA, everyone knows who Snake Plissken is, just like how in Escape
you're
from New York,
Snake Plissken.
everyone
Yeah.
knows who Snake Plissken
Super
is.
famous from his
Pardon
escapades
me,
in New
sir,
York.
But are you Snake Plissken?
What do you guys think about Steve Buscemi in this movie? I hated him.
I thought he
Oh.
was Steve Buscemi.
I was
Yeah.
like, this
It
is.
was just every role he's ever played.
Yeah.
Same dude.
I couldn't stand him. I thought he was like
His little Weasley sneaky.
Yeah, but he was probably like the worst part of the movie for me. Like if they would have cut him out, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Because every time he was on screen, I was like, oh my God.
Really?
Yeah, it was just annoying. He was more annoying than he was funny.
Got his pimped out ride.
Oh, that's a thing from the first one too. Remember with the
Yeah.
chandeliers?
Yes.
And this one has a disco ball. It's so stupid.
The only reason Steve Buscemi did this movie was to get the payday so that he could make a passion project of his.
I can appreciate that.
And
All right.
that's the sign of a shitty sequel is when the people involved do it just so they can do other stuff.
Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
I'll do
yeah.
your dumb movie. How much does it pay? What? Okay.
Yeah. What are you going to give me in return? Oh, I can make this other movie after I'm done? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got some good actors in it.
Oh, it's got great actors. I just
Stacey
Peter
Keach
Fonda.
and Peter Fonda.
I just think I think a lot of people phoned it in and they upped the cheese factor way.
It's got
way
Ensign
too
Rowe
high.
in it.
What did you guys think of the president's daughter?
Super annoying.
Yeah, kind of annoying.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
I was like, let her die.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares about the president's daughter.
And the bad guy Cuervo Jones basically basically he's
Hugo Chavez.
well no he's Che Guevara.
Che Guevara.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You guys want to do some final thoughts? Everybody ready on Escape from LA? Katie, do you have anything else to add?
This was John Carpenter's only sequel that he's ever directed.
Wow.
Yeah, and this was his fifth and final collaboration with Kurt Russell, unfortunately. And
Really, nothing since?
Nope, this was the last time they worked together. Because I think after this movie, or a couple other movies that didn't do too well, John Carpenter has kind of unofficially retired. I know that he goes on tour doing like music stuff, but for the most part, he just kind of like quote unquote produces remakes of his older stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So like he hasn't made a film in a long time. But this was like his first like big budget Hollywood movie ever, I'd have to say, and it didn't go too well. like at the box office, and I think that kind of deflated him a lot. But like this was a movie that was shot over the course of like 3 months. It was all night shooting, so for like 3 months, like they were just awake at night shooting this movie, and that can weigh on you a little bit.
Oh yeah.
He had $50 million to play with. This was his most expensive movie, and
It just bombed.
and it's not his best movie either. Like 80s John Carpenter had like a lot of passion and imagination to him.
Yeah.
And as his career has gone on, he's just kind of lost that. And I know that Deborah Hill, like she passed away not too long after the Fog remake came out. And, his collaborations with her, John Carpenter's, were always really good. But for whatever reason, like I think instead of doing a true sequel, them just doing a remake essentially hurt this movie. And it would have been much better if they had kind of tried to do something different with it instead of just beat for beat remaking the original movie. But there is something to be said about like how nostalgic it feels because it's the same but different.
Yeah.
This movie was fun. I had fun with this movie.
This is like a Kurt Russell, dessert. If you love Kurt Russell, like
if you love Snake Plissken,
every frame of this film is great. Like that scene in the basketball court.
Oh my God.
Kurt Russell, like there was no CGI in that. Kurt Russell made every single one of those baskets.
Nice.
Even the one from the full court. Like they, it might have taken them a few tries, but like he basically got a nothing but net shot from like all the way at the other.
That's awesome. Court. I thought that was a super like corny thing for them to make him do, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah. Seen worse.
Well, it's an LA Lakers thing.
Yeah, it's an LA thing.
Like everything about this movie, like if you've ever lived in LA, like this movie has like a different level of appreciation.
Yeah.
Because it really does lampoon a lot of like Los Angeles stuff.
Yeah, like I said, everything that happened in LA happens in this movie at one point in time or the other. I'm kind of with Jude. I think I'd give it would you give it 2 stars?
2.5.
Yeah. 2.5? Mm-hmm. Oh, we're doing half stars. That's right. I set the precedent.
That's a 5 out of 10. That's a 50%.
I'd give it 2 stars too. It's fun. It's kind of corny. It's more of a guilty pleasure for me. Like I might watch it some other time if I'm really in like a Snake Plissken mood, but it's not a good movie, but it's kind of fun. It's just fun.
It's about on par with the first one.
Yeah, it's on par with the first one.
I would watch the first one again. I never have a need to watch this one again.
No.
I feel like the first one takes itself a little bit more seriously.
Oh yeah.
And
this one knows what it is.
This one's more campy and kind of fun and more of a comic book kind of thing.
Yeah, the surfing and the hang gliding.
Peter Fonda was like, "Hey man, you look kind of familiar. Are you? Oh, you're Snake Plissken. Cool. All right, let's go surfing."
Yeah, it was very. It felt very self-aware, huh?
Yeah,
and that explosion on the helicopter at the end, where everyone in the back just gets like encompassed in flames and dies, and they're just like, like it's so fake.
And the helicopter keeps flying.
Yeah,
I mean that
helicopter was like,
that explosion was cool, but it's not the best explosion we're going to talk about today.
No. But I will say that the ending of this movie was a far better ending than the first movie, and this was an ending that basically Kurt Russell came up with, and Snake Plissken, not giving a fuck, just basically shuts down the entire world. Yeah, and the very last scene is him smoking a cigarette because the entire movie he's like, gotta smoke, and everyone's like, smoking has been banned because it's bad for you.
Yeah, so
like he finds a pack of cigarettes, he lights a match, takes a drag off the cigarette, and looks at the camera and blows out the match. Like he breaks that fourth wall, like he knows, like you're watching him.
Yeah,
and pretty dope.
And that's like the most badass ending for a character in cinema history, man. Where he basically just fucked everything. Yeah. He didn't give a shit.
Screwed it all up.
Well, you were like 3 F-bombs today.
I'm sorry.
Man. I either get
Daniels
2 more.
Is a hell of a drug.
He hasn't had any.
I need to go get some.
He's the only one who's sober right now. All right, so have we done our final thoughts? Final thoughts on
so.
Escape from LA?
I'd give it 2 eye patches out of 5.
2 eye patches, nice.
I think I'm a 2.5 with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the surfing scene. He just like hops up on the truck
he's
car.
just acting like he's trying to keep his balance.
This is hanging loose.
It's like that, the classic, like, I'm trying to surf, guys.
It's like freaking Buscemi in the car looking over his shoulder.
I'd rather watch
these guys are chasing me on their surfboard.
Green screen surf than watch this movie again.
And Kurt Russell gives Peter Fonda a high five before like he jumps off the surfboard.
Yeah, he does.
He does, yeah.
High five, yeah. It's good stuff.
It's that LA surf culture thing.
Oh, yeah.
So stupid.
Stacy Keach was kind of over the top.
With his ponytail.
Yeah, I loved it. I gotta get me one of those.
You got a ponytail?
I'm bald on top. Should I do that?
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Ponytail
do that.
with the
Do
Viking
that.
beard?
Yeah.
No,
Let's do it.
please no. Please
Yeah,
no.
that'd be awesome.
Go full douchebag.
Full douchebag.
Full 90s bad guy.
Yeah.
Think Doc Ansel.
Oh yeah, from Tiger King.
Oh yeah,
The
from
guy
Tiger
The
King.
guy that
Oh,
rode
no,
the
I
elephant
can't- I
with
can't
his
do that.
ponytail.
You can start your harem.
That dude did douche. I can't do that. No. He got indicted, by the way.
Did he? Oh,
I
good.
think he got busted.
Thank God.
For something.
Having a harem of whores.
A,
Don't slut shame.
a harem of tiger lovers.
All right, guys, that's it for our discussion of Escape from LA. I think you should check it out.
Yeah,
just
watch
go
it.
watch it.
Yeah, it's
even
good
if you've never seen it.
If you're a Kurt Russell or
Yeah.
John Carpenter fan, you've probably already seen it.
Yeah.
But
If you don't
watch
like
it
this
again.
movie, you're stupid.
But anyway, all right, guys, before we move on to our next topic, a real quick word from our sponsors.
Save now, share now. At CaseySubaru.com, we are offering 0% financing for 63 months on select new 2021 Subaru models. And during the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charity. Go to CaseySubaru.com to learn more. Submit your charity selection by 1/15/21. See Subaru.com/share for details. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. Financing for well-qualified applicants only. Subject to credit approval. Expires January 4th, 2021.
2020 got your life on pause? Get moving again at Planet Fitness during our big end-of-year sale. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, now through December 16th, and end the year on the right or left foot in our squeaky clean and spacious clubs. And check out the crowd meter in our app to pick the best time to visit. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, in club or at planetfitness.com. Deal ends December 16th.
Join one of our squeaky clean clubs today for just $1 down. Offer ends Wednesday, December 16th.
See club for details.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, hey, if you'd like to support this podcast and get some cool merch in return, go to saltynerdstore.com. There you will find all of our cool designs that you can get on t-shirts and stickers and masks and hoodies and all kinds of cool stuff. So go there. Any money that you guys help support us with will go directly back into the podcast, of course, but you will also get something really cool in return. And I am always working in my spare time to come up with some cool new designs. I think I put up a new one recently with our actual Salty Nerd logo on there. So if you're a super supporter and you want to rock the Salty Nerd logo, there's a shirt on there just for you. So go to saltynerdstore.com.
And if you don't want to or can't spend any money, consider giving us a review or recommending us to some friends. Help
Have your
expose-
friends buy the merch.
Yeah,
For you.
help spread the word of mouth. That a little bit goes a long way. Talk about us on Twitter or Facebook or whatever your preferred social media is. We really appreciate any help you can do to get the word out about us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, guys. All right, let's
Social media. I need a shot right now. All right.
keep going, buddy. Don't burn out on us yet. We got two terrible movies to go. The next movie on our list is Independence Day Resurgence.
Welcome to Earth.
Earth.
That's racist.
Welcome to the moon.
Welcome to the moon. God, this movie was something else. All right, Jude, why don't you
I'm
tell
just
us
gonna
what?
get right into
go
it.
ahead. What is Independence Day Resurgence all about?
2016 Independence Day Resurgence, the follow-up to the 1996 Independence Day that was actually good. The budget was $165 million.
Wow.
What do you
Really?
think?
How
What-
much?
$165 million.
$100 million of that went to CGI.
Jeff Goldblum's paycheck.
Yeah.
What do you think it made?
Not that much. I'm going to say it made as much, $200 million.
$500 million, Bob.
No.
I don't know how much this thing made.
389.6.
Wow, that's what I said.
Really?
And yet it was still a failure.
What was the marketing campaign? Did it cost a lot?
So basically, in order for a movie to quote unquote break even, it has to make its budget back plus its budget. So
Right.
2 times
Double,
as much as
yeah.
it cost. That's just kind of a rough rule of thumb, Hollywood accounting. So this movie was basically a break even. Like it didn't make any money essentially.
Well, that's what happens when you have Jeff Goldblum as an action hero.
Jude, why don't you tell us what the movie's about? We'll get into it.
So it's 20 years later, and instead of writing a script with dialogue and character development, they made a movie.
Salty.
Full-
Nice.
So salty.
I'm just telling it like it is, guys. This is a movie full of expedition dumps.
Okay.
Oh, it really is.
So and so. Do you know that you've been in a coma for 7,300 days?
Wow, you got old.
Turn and look at the screen and wink. Anyway, Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirschers is still quirky and delightful. There's a lady president. No one listens to Jeff Goldblum's warnings again. There's a new, bigger, badder mothership. The wacky scientist from the first movie and Bill Pullman have a touched by an alien psychic connection, and they keep trying to warn people, but of course no one listens. The London Bridge and lots of Earth have fallen down, and the jokes are falling flat, and Earth's core is being mined by aliens. There's a talking sphere with intergalactic secrets stored on it that they have to protect from the big alien. And then Bill Pullman has to fly up into the mothership's butthole. And there's a whole unimportant storyline.
It turns into a giant video game.
Yeah. There's a whole unimportant storyline with his daughter being engaged to Liam Hemsworth.
That's Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's
And-
the lesser of the two Hemsworths.
Oh, it's the lesser
Discuss.
Hemsworth.
Oh, three actually. There's a
Is
third
the-
one.
Is the lesser of the three or
Yeah.
the middle?
Don't forget the alien queen
Guys, what if
kaiju.
Liam Hemsworth listens?
He's a cool guy. I'm sure.
That's what I'm calling him from now
Don't
on.
talk shit.
Oh,
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Liam Hemsworth.
Hemsworth the lesser.
Not Chris Hemsworth.
We're doing his Game of Thrones. You're at Hemsworth the lesser.
It's terrible.
House Hemsworth.
He's in his brother's shadow, and it must be frustrating.
That would suck.
I can only
I
imagine.
feel sorry for my brother. It's in my shadow all the time. I need more booze.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
I like this movie.
Katie's just actually
God
laughing at me.
damn it, Alex.
I thought this movie was fun.
That's it.
It had so much potential.
I just want to like slap you right now with the biggest bag of dicks I could find. And just right across the face.
This movie was fun. It had like really, okay, I'm going to set this up. All right. So this is the first time I've ever seen this. I've never seen this movie before. I watched it and I'm like, okay, so the buildup of this, like after the events of the first movie, humankind has taken the technology of the aliens and have like morphed it into human technology. And we've basically become Starfleet at this point.
There's
Pretty
a
much.
global society. So
Yeah.
there are no more countries. Everyone's been united.
Yes.
It's very, everybody's
And I'm like,
kumbaya, yeah.
I felt like that was a pretty good, progression for what mankind would do, maybe in like a fictional area, not in today's age, but in like a fictional area when
Yes,
aliens come down and destroy the earth, we all kind of
A
say,
common enemy united us all.
Yeah.
But we still have, African warlords and mercenaries.
I like that part, dude. Okay, the backstory to his. So we get introduced later on. Jeff Goldblum, who of course I thought he was pretty good in this movie.
He
Too.
was Jeff Goldblum.
He was Jeff Goldblum.
He was
I
the
love
same
Jeff
dude he's in every movie.
That's
He's
fine.
great in everything.
That's fine.
You know,
plays the
he
same
works.
character.
The thing is, though, is like being that this is a sequel, supposedly to the first Independence Day.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Jeff Goldblum just be like a hard drinking, hard smoking. like walk around with a cigar in every scene, and
It's like-
just being like
The world could end at any minute.
Well, I would have liked to have seen him do like a whole 180 from his character in the first one, where his character in the first one was like a very kind of like
Analytical
I
nerd.
want to save the world, hippie
Oh,
liberal
okay.
type guy.
I feel like he's the same dude in literally
He is.
everything. Even his commercials.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Well, he just
Same
plays
character.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That's why
The only time he hasn't played Jeff Goldblum was in the first Jurassic Park, where
Yeah.
he plays Malcolm.
yeah.
What's
I still just feel like he's
Ian
Jeff
Malcolm.
Goldblum.
Ian Malcolm. And in every other movie, he's just Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, he's completely charming and entertaining.
Yeah.
I like Jeff Goldblum.
So-
but
I'd hang out with him.
yeah, me too.
To defend my honor, I would just say, like the premise, the explanation to what has happened in the last 20 years, I liked it. The CGI in this opening scene, where
it's
like
great.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
They're on the moon and they're like dealing with some giant
on
thing
a,
that they're
on a
trying to fix.
technical level, this movie
It's
is
gorgeous.
awesome.
It's
It
gorgeous.
really is. That's
so-
where all that entire $150 million budget went.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
special effects.
100%. And then when we get introduced to this African warlord, I thought
Lord of
that's
War.
Lord of War.
I prefer it my
I
way.
prefer it my way.
I kept expecting him to say something like that. And I think it would have made up for a world of hurt in this movie.
I liked his setup, his idea, like, one of the ships from the last time landed and was drilling. Like that was their original purpose for being there. Of course, it's kind of quirky that we didn't get any kind of hint to that in the first movie.
There's
but-
a lot of retcon.
Yeah, they have to
going on in this
retcon a
movie.
few things to kind of like re-jump the story or whatever, or jumpstart the story. And but the whole idea that like for the for 10 years or so, they've been fighting. Because, of course, every one of these ships is like thousands of aliens on it. What are they going to do? They're not just going to go
Millions.
Yeah. They're not just going to go die. They're going to freaking fight. So we had this guy who's like, yeah, I've been fighting this war for years and I know how to kill them. I'm a master at killing these aliens. I'm like, that's a freaking cool setup. Yeah. I like that guy.
No, I'm with you there. The setup for this thing is great. The first 30 minutes of this movie is amazing.
And that guy's, secret tactic is just,
stab him in the back.
Stab him from behind.
Stab him from behind.
Attack him from behind.
It's their weak spot. It's a video game weak spot. 100% video game weak spot. But like it continues to set up the culture that we're in. Some of the characters were a little, I think the quirky pilot guy that was with Liam Hemsworth, I didn't like him at all.
I gave zero.
He was
zero
weird.
craps about any of the pilot characters.
I think the biggest problem with this movie is it tried to encompass too much. It bit off more than it could chew. It needed to be a little bit more dialed in.
They needed Will Smith to be the quirky pilot guy.
Maybe.
So.
Talking about Will Smith here. So originally this movie, it was going to be 2 different movies. It was going to be called Independence Day in Forever, parts 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And
I remember this.
And they were in negotiations with Will Smith. And basically the script that Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich had written basically revolved around Will Smith's character. And up to the point where it was like right before they were getting ready to start pre-production on the film, Will Smith dropped out to go and do Suicide Squad because Fox wouldn't meet his salary request.
Is this movie that new?
2016.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Will Smith wanted a guarantee of $50 million for 2 movies, so $25 million a movie. And Fox was like, hell no. So he went off and did Suicide Squad, and that left Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin with the problem where they're like, well, if we don't have Will Smith, like the entire movie revolves around his character. So they were forced to like rewrite the movie.
We're going to get A-Train.
Yeah.
That's who that was.
That's who that was. The guy who played A-Train in The Boys. But basically, like they were forced to rewrite the movie going into pre-production. And then Fox came to them and said, like, you're only getting 1 movie. We're not doing 2.
So they had to squish 2 movies into one?
Yeah, and it feels like it.
It feels like it, yeah, for sure.
So like they were basically like rewriting everything on the fly.
Okay.
And as they were getting ready to shoot this like $160 million movie, and that's not a position you want to be in.
Yeah.
Like this movie had something like 9 different screenwriters on it because they had to keep bringing in people to,
It feels like it has 9 different screenwriters on it.
Yeah.
But like when I was watching it, like the core elements of it that I was watching, I freaking thought it was really cool. There's really cool concepts going on. I thought they went a little overboard with like the freaking planet-sized mothership that came in.
Continent size.
Yeah,
like
I'm like
3,000 miles.
Yeah,
I was
3,000 miles.
It's landing in the Pacific. Where?
It's got
over
its
the whole thing.
Over the entire
It's got
Pacific.
its own gravity.
It's that I thought went a little bit over the top, but I'm sure at the time in the 90s when they were like, oh, they have city-sized spaceships now, like that's over the top. So I'm like, it's kind of on par with the first movie, so I can see why they would do that.
I know that Roland Emmerich came out afterwards and said that it was a mistake to actually make this movie because just like John Carpenter, Escape from LA was his only sequel.
Yeah,
this is Roland Emmerich's only sequel. And he basically said that the minute that Will Smith was not going to be involved was the minute that they should have just nixed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if Will Smith could have saved this movie.
Well, I think that the original story might have probably been better than what we got.
A little more concise.
Like this one felt like very recycled.
Yeah.
And it falls into the trap of other terrible sequels where basically terrible sequels always try to make everything bigger. And in my opinion, the best sequels go smaller. Because you've already established the characters, so you can actually dive down into like the characters in the second one without having to spend a lot of time setting stuff up.
That's very true.
So like it's actually better to do like a smaller scale sequel that has kind of a darker ending, and that can lead into like a third movie where you can ratchet things back up again.
Empire Strikes Back.
Exactly. and that's right. the formula for a winning sequel. And the sequels that usually fall flat on their faces are the ones that try to make everything bigger and more explosive than the first one.
This movie, just like you're implying, feels like it's too much, too big, too fast.
Yeah.
And there's no time for a proper build-up other than the big, giant 25-minute opening exposition. It's like, this is what's going on, and here's some big explosions and some cool special effects, which are cool.
Like we saw the destruction of Beijing and London within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah. There's some serious continuity issues with where people are in proximity to the mothership, and it drives me freaking bananas. So the one thing that I think could have been completely cut out from this movie and nobody would miss it is
like the entire second act.
No, I think the third act. The third act went full video game mode, and that really bothered me. But there's elements in the second act where they go onto the mothership and they're like fighting aliens on the ground. I thought that was freaking cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see more of that. Give me that movie.
It needed to be expanded on more.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt like the way to do this one was instead of setting it on Earth, have like other aliens, kind of like that sphere ship, show up and be like, hey, you guys are the only ones who've ever beat these aliens. Come help us. We're on this other planet. We need
take
your
it
help.
out of Earth.
Yeah, take it away from Earth, and then like have them fighting on an alien planet, and introduce elements that expand the mythology.
Okay,
I mean, this isn't a good movie, but the whole premise of it is fun.
Really cool.
I like the first one a lot.
Yeah,
it's not a great movie either, but I'm an eye candy guy. I like to see cool special effects and big explosions and chaos and stuff like this. But this movie, they kind of set up to where in my head it's like let's sequel this thing, but let's do it Stargate style.
Yeah, the entire.
Let's go out in space.
Yeah,
let's see what these soldiers go out in space do fighting these terraforming aliens. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be.
But I mean, the setup's there.
The whole thing about like being after our molten core was kind of like weak.
Yeah, like we need nickel alloy and iron.
It's like every single planetoid has like a molten core.
Yeah,
and it's like I got the impression was that the mothership got the SOS from the first invasion force.
Yeah,
and they were just pissed.
Yeah.
They were just going to come to Earth and fuck them all up.
Yeah, that was like the opening.
And that was it.
That was the opening credits.
We don't need their core. We're just going to come kill all their asses and then take what we want after that.
One of the things I hate about this movie is the idea that they recycled the whole like if you kill the leader ship / mother alien
because they're just
it's a fandom.
Everything else just falls apart for the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's like if you're like 2 minutes away from hitting like the Earth's core and your queen dies,
crank it up.
Would you really just stop and leave?
And they established that there's other queens out there. Like, bro, what are you doing? Jude, you haven't talked in a while. Did you just like despise this movie? Is that why?
This was really hard for me.
Really?
Yeah. I really hated it. We saw it in the theater and we hated it.
Oh, you saw it in theaters?
Yeah, Jude and I went on a date night.
Oh, wow.
And I still hate it.
Almost cost you your relationship.
Right. That's a terrible movie. So what was the worst part for you? What made you not like it? Because did you like the first one, right?
I do. I love the first one.
Okay.
I was upset when I found out that Will Smith wasn't attached to it.
Okay.
I hate what they did with Bill Pullman's character. I didn't care about any of the pilots, like Vader said. Like I wasn't invested in any of their storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they could have just taken that completely out, and the movie might have been like tighter, like you said.
Yeah.
There's just nothing for me here.
Not even the special effects.
I'm not an eye candy guy like Vader. I want a good story, and I want clever writing, and I want some charm to it. Like the first one just held so much of that for me. Like we'll
I could have been at a barbecue.
Yeah, that's my favorite line. Will Smith
what the hell is that smell?
I mean, there's more character in the scene in the first movie where Will Smith and the girlfriend come out of the house.
Oh yeah,
and the ship's hanging off over L.A. than in this entire movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just
the relationships in this movie were super weird. There was a moment where Liam Hemsworth's character was like getting ready to go off into space somewhere, and his girlfriend was like, "I like that one house that you picked," and he's like, "If it's still there," and she laughs, and I'm like, "What are we laughing at? The entire planet's on fire. Like, this is not funny."
I really hated what they did with the legacy characters. Like, I didn't like Bill Pullman being like a crazy person.
I didn't mind that.
I didn't like. So it was kind of funny. So Vivica A. Fox, she reprises her role in this, and she's like a doctor.
Yeah, no, not just a doctor. I watched the.
Was that really her?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was her.
No, that's really her. But she was a stripper in the first movie.
I told Jude, I was like, so was she stripping to put herself through med school?
Maybe.
I think that's what they were implying. But she's not just a doctor.
Good
she's
for
like,
you, girl.
She's like a director of the entire hospital. She's not wearing a lab coat. She's wearing a full on suit dress pant. What is it called?
Pantsuit.
And she's A-Train's mom.
And she's A-Train's mom. Okay. Yeah. And then the death scene.
But the biggest one.
Go ahead.
So the president's daughter. So the girl who played the president's daughter in the first movie.
Okay.
She's not what Emmerich and the studio considered, quote unquote, conventionally pretty. And so like, because she's all grown up now, and she did this movie called The Duff, I think.
The Duff.
Yeah, it was like a high school movie about.
I'm gonna look up what she looks like.
Yeah, me too. No.
Yeah, so she's kind of chubby.
Was it the same actress in this that played her in the first movie?
No.
And that's what caused some controversy because they recast the role to have like a prettier girl in it.
I don't have a problem with
And-
that. The girl was like 8 or something.
Well,
right?
Anna Kendrick made a big to do about it on social media, and they're like, they should cast this girl because she was the original one, and blah blah blah, and she's totally pretty, and
Meg Whitman's, she's in a bunch of movies nowadays.
Yeah. What have I've seen her in something recently.
They could have totally had her in the
Yeah.
movie. I get what the controversy is. I mean, recasting is recasting. People do it all the
she's
time.
in Good Girls. I love her in that.
But yeah, I think they probably could have used her.
I just felt like this movie, it was just such a weird mishmash of ideas that kind of wanted to copy. It was almost doing like an Escape from LA thing where it was beat for beat copying the first movie.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work, especially in the third act where basically you have this gigantic alien queen monster who's basically like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Running around in the salt flats of Utah, fighting like soldiers and stuff. And it turned into a monster movie.
Yeah. It went full video game. Like the third act is by far the weakest part for me.
And the ending, it just ended. Basically, like you get Brent Spiner and he's like, interdimensional travel and big ass weapon.
Yeah.
And then it's just cut to black.
Yeah.
and it's very obvious that they left it open for a sequel.
Yeah, they tried to. I mean, there's potential there for a sequel that could be good, but this movie kind of like it bit off more than it could chew.
Like I said, just Stargate SG-1 this thing, or something, or not. We don't have to go back there.
I could see a mini series where like a handful of soldiers go to this like secret planet that this sphere has shown us, and they're like, hey, go help these people defeat the aliens. Because like I said, the strongest part of this movie was when they were on the alien ship and they were fighting these guys on the ground. Like I thought the effects were great. I thought the fighting was really cool. It was really clever. The idea that you can kill these things in hand-to-hand combat with that one warlord gore, like I like all that stuff. That seems really cool to me. But they killed it at the end. They went full video game. None of it makes any sense. And the one thing that took me out of the movie 100%, and I cannot for the life of me understand why they put this in there, was Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's dad. Who plays him?
I forget
Neil Hirsch.
Neil Hirsch. Yeah, he his whole storyline is completely useless. Like there's no reason to have him in the movie. Judd Hirsch. Yeah. I do not understand why they put him in this movie. And he was
in the first movie.
Yeah, but who cares? He has like this crazy plot
and
armor.
He's still alive. It's funny. Like Robert Loggia makes his last film appearance in this movie as like the general guy.
Yeah,
and he almost looks like he's like a CGI stand-in because he's so old.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was the general from the. Yeah, I remember seeing him at the. There was like some big celebration for Independence Day. It was the anniversary of the first alien attack,
and
they
called it the War of '96. I think.
And they had him like just sitting there. He had no lines, no nothing. The camera just like looked at him.
He was basically on his deathbed.
Yeah,
and they like wheeled him out for like this one cameo. And it's so sad because he's such a good actor.
Yeah, he was. He's good in a lot of stuff, but it was. Okay, so let's talk about the crazy president thing, because I didn't mind that. I like the idea that like Data and the president, they all had like this data. They all had this crazy interaction with the aliens at one point. So now they're like somehow connected to them, and it's been driving them crazy for 20 years.
Yeah.
So at the point now where he's kind of like the only one who can kind of figure out what's going on, I really like that part.
The thing that made Bill Pullman's character so awesome in the first one was like he was just like, he was the leader. He was the hyper competent guy who wasn't going to lie down and die, and he was going to lead humanity against the greatest threat they ever faced.
Yeah.
And, you can rally around a character like that. And then to see him like be like this crazy old guy with a beard, for like half the movie, it ruined the character. Jake Skywalker basically.
How dare you?
I would have rather seen him be like, kind of old and weathered and, cynical. But at the same time, like still like the guy who led humanity through its darkest hour.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen like the movie kind of center more around him, with this, rallying the great, because in the movie, the current president dies.
Yeah.
And William Fichtner, this guy that we've never met
Oh
before,
my God.
gets sworn in as president. And I was like, why swear him in as president when you have an ex-president right there who defeated the aliens the first time?
It makes that makes no sense at all.
He's not in the succession list.
Yeah.
Anymore.
That's
after
right.
you're retired, you're just a civilian.
There was a moment where that character that got sworn into presidency had to do like his rallying speech, and it was so
it's like, oh, this is lame.
This is so lame compared to the first one. The first one, like I listened to that speech now.
I still get me going. So,
yeah. Well, like when you listen to that, "We will not go quietly into the night" speech.
Oh my gosh!
In the first movie, like you're just like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, you get amped. You get really amped for it. I listened to this one in this movie, and I'm like, that is the worst freaking speech ever.
My brain goes, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, exactly.
Go team.
It was terrible.
Yay.
It was so bad. Like there's a lot of sins that this movie has. But I just thought like the world building and the idea that the world was bigger than what the first movie had set up. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I wish they would have leaned into that more and simplified the story down to like maybe just the president and Will Smith's kid and Liam Neeson, like those, or Liam Hemsworth, like those three characters. That's it.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, they put way too much. They overstuffed this thing, and it came off convoluted and over.
Two movies crushed into one.
Yeah, and we've seen
neither one of those movies were very good. It's just it's just a lot of cool special effects with a really poor story.
Yeah,
trying to be a sequel, and they failed. Yeah.
So we kind of talked about everything, every aspect of this movie. It failed on so many levels, but to me, there was just something about it that felt like there was some potential there, especially if you want to think about like extra material, like a series or something like that. Like there's a big world in this little cinematic universe that they created.
They did do a lot of world building.
Yeah, they did. I really appreciated that. And the CGI was gorgeous. Like the eye candy was amazing in this movie. It failed on a couple of levels, but I kind of liked it. I watched it. I didn't hate it.
To me, it's a bad movie, but the eye candy is off the charts.
Yeah.
And for that reason and that reason only, I'm going to give it 2 stars.
Oh, 2. Okay.
But I mean, because I've said it 100 times. I'm a visual guy. I can be entertained with fancy special effects.
Yeah.
That's why I like movies like Pacific Rim and stuff like that, and King Kong and Godzilla movies, because they're not good movies, but they're fun they're fun for my brain to just watch and turn it off and just go, ooh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. As much as I thought
this movie did, like you said, it went full video game, and it's too much, and it was just poorly executed, and I don't care if I ever watch it again.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
Like I know we talked about the alien queen coming down being kind of goofy and dumb and video game-ish, but like the idea that they have this giant like Godzilla-sized creature, I thought that was kind of cool too. Yeah. There was a lot of cool factor to this movie. I just wish they would have pulled it off better, because I think it could have been just as good, if not better, and maybe even possibly set up something to come in the future. But I think that ship sailed. Yeah, that ship has sailed. Kadish, what's your final thoughts on this movie?
I'd give it 2 out of 5 alien invasions. Yeah. I mean, like it's a dumb, shut your brain off, enjoy what's in front of you movie.
Yeah.
It's disappointing because the first one was so good. And they probably could have made this one just as good, if not better, if they had, actually been able to sit down and figure out the script instead of having to like rewrite it on the fly because Will Smith dropped out at the last minute. I think it's definitely a missed opportunity. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit smaller and more intimate with these characters, as opposed to like the big continent-sized spaceship with its own gravity. Like I'm still trying to wrap my brain around how that works. I wouldn't recommend this movie, but like, it's to me, it's up there with these mythical Indiana Jones movies, and that some people say exist, but completely.
Wait, what? There's mythical Indiana Jones movies?
Completely ruin the movies that come before them.
Yeah, there's rumors that there's a 4th one out there, but I have never heard of it. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's strange. People talk about it, but
what's it about?
Who knows?
Aliens.
Yeah. In Indiana Jones? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
So this movie doesn't make any sense either. So basically, I prefer to just think that the first one was just a one and done.
Yeah.
standalone movie.
I tend to agree with you. All right, guys, that's it for our final thoughts on Independence Day Resurgence. Jude had to bail real quick. We had a little bit of a thing going on, so she will be missing for the rest of the podcast, and we will miss our ambassador of estrogen.
She'll be here in spirit.
Now it's a sausage fest.
I know, now it's a sausage fest. Before we move on to our next topic, a quick word from our sponsors.
2020 got your life on pause? Get moving again at Planet Fitness during our big end-of-year sale. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, now through December 16th, and end the year on the right or left foot in our squeaky clean and spacious clubs. And check out the crowd meter in our app to pick the best time to visit. Join for just $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, in club or at planetfitness.com. Deal ends December 16th.
Join one of our squeaky clean clubs today for just $1 down. Offer ends Wednesday, December 16th.
See club for details.
We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to your education. It's time to make Thomas Nelson your first choice. We believe learning should be personalized to fit your needs. 50 years ago, we opened our doors to provide Peninsula residents access to a high-quality education. Today, Thomas Nelson continues that tradition and offers an education that is personal, affordable, flexible, and local. Make Thomas Nelson your first choice. Success. It's closer than you think. Visit us at tncc.edu.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Real quick, before we get into the next movie, if you would like to support the podcast and become one of our super awesome Patreon supporters, go to saltynerdclub.com and join a tier. You can pick any tier that you want. Any money that you give us will be greatly appreciated and goes directly back into investing into the podcast to grow the brand, get us new equipment, get us started on the next set of content that we can do, and of course, help you guys escape from this crazy, crazy world by providing awesome content. So that's saltynerdclub.com. Pick any tier that you would like and help us, make cool content for you. If you're listening to this podcast and you like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review and let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. We love reading them. And it also helps bring awareness to the podcast on like the iTunes algorithms and all that other nonsense.
You know what I want to see?
What do you want to see?
I want to see people like get some stickers by joining our Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Taking those stickers and putting them in inappropriate places,
like bathroom stalls,
and taking pictures of those stickers and sending them to us
for a good time call for in the bathroom stall or something like that. That's not a bad idea.
The Salty Nerd Sticker Challenge.
I like that idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. The last movie on our list today is Speed 2.
We saved the best for last.
Cruise Control.
Almighty.
Okay, listen. When the movie starts, when the movie title is a pun, you know you're in trouble.
I think the last thing I tweeted last night was Jan de Bont can suck my dick. That's and if you want to edit that out, that's fine. But that's how I ended this movie.
Is that who made this movie?
Yeah, Jan de Bont.
Oh,
Jan de Bont.
Terrible.
It's so bad.
Terrible.
He directed the first one.
Yeah.
And then he directed Twister, and then he came back for this one. God. Because he was contractually obligated to.
Was he really? Oh,
yeah,
that's so bad.
Like he thought that the first Speed was just a standalone.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't see doing a sequel to this. but then the studio was like, you signed a contract, and he's like, okay, fine.
Oh God.
Come back.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't know he did Twister.
Yeah.
It's like I got the Jan de Bont trilogy this week.
I love Twister.
Because I watched Twister with my wife
this
this weekend. Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
There's a little nod in this movie where when the oil tanker blows up, there's a cow that gets ejected into the atmosphere because of the explosion. And that was like the special effects guy's little nod to Twister.
Wow.
Twister was cool.
Twister's a great movie. Yeah. I love that movie. This one was terrible.
Yeah, what's that? I'm kind of disappointed they're even related.
I know, right?
It kind of makes me a little irritated.
Candice, why don't you get us into this? What is this movie all about?
All right. Speed 2 Cruise Control from 1997, rated PG-13. So basically, this movie is about a computer hacker that breaks into a computer system on the Seabourn Legend cruise liner and sets it speeding on a collision course into a gigantic oil tanker. And it is up to Annie from the original Speed and her new boyfriend, who is a SWAT team member, to basically stop it. So basically, Officer Alex Shaw has to save the day on this runaway cruise liner.
Fake Bill Paxton.
Fake Keanu Reeves.
Discount Keanu Reeves. Who would have thought that Keanu Reeves would have been? Would he have been better in this movie?
I mean, I know he's Keanu Reeves' replacement.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing Bill Paxton.
Did you?
I did. I really did. I don't know why.
Is it like a Twister thing? Because you watched Twister?
Maybe.
I
don't know. He's got the forehead.
He was terrible.
It's awful.
He's terrible in this movie.
Sandra Bullock should be ashamed when she made this movie.
Well, you know why she made it?
She was the star of the first movie, though, right?
Oh, that's what Siskel and Robert or whatever the hell their name is.
Siskel and Ebert.
Siskel and Ebert said, dude. Okay, so we'll just do a recap real quick of what happened last night between me and Vader. I got done watching this movie and I was like, Jesus, this was terrible. Yeah. So I started,
and I'm watching this movie currently while he's texting me.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, have you watched Speed 2 yet? He's like, yeah, I'm watching it right now. Boba Fett's in it. You got some Maura Morrison in this movie, and I was going through YouTube looking at some retrospective, trying to research the podcast for the podcast, like background information on the movie, and I saw an old Siskel and Ebert review, and I was like, oh, I got to see what these jokers said. And
they actually gave it a good review.
They both gave it a thumbs up.
They liked it.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like up to the day he died, Roger Ebert basically said that this was the only review he's had to constantly defend.
It's terrible.
It's so bad.
But it's like I feel like they were paid to say this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they literally in this thing said that Sandra Bullock
is the main star.
The main character and star of the first one. And it's just like,
no, she's not.
Well, did you guys watch the same movie everybody else did?
All right, before we get into this, so the budget for this movie was $160 million.
160?
160. So it was basically the same amount of money as Independence Day.
Wow.
Independence Day had 165 million. How much money do you think this movie made?
Oh, I doubt it made half that.
I'm going to say 45 million.
Okay. Vader?
Half of 160?
Yeah, so
80.
So it made 164 million.
It made exactly what its budget was.
Wow.
Yeah. So considered, for movies that big, they have to make back at least twice that their budget in order to break even. So like this was a big loss on the movie's part.
So I don't even know what to say about this movie. It was like
it never ended. It never ended.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like on paper, this should work. You got Sandra Bullock. I love Sandra Bullock. She's pretty good in every movie she's in.
Love her.
Gorgeous, fun to look at. She's got this quirky kind of like
kind of a good actor.
Yeah, it's cool.
Actress.
You got Tamora Morrison playing the first mate. Yeah. I love him. He's cool. It's cool to see him on screen.
What other stuff has he been in? Anything?
Star Wars.
Well,
both him and Willem Dafoe were in Aquaman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Willem Dafoe is the bad guy in this movie. Like on paper, it sounds pretty good, but
how do you pronounce it, Vader? Dafoe?
Dafoe.
That's the bourbon, sir. I'm sitting here getting kind of half plowed.
That's awesome, dude.
I'm getting ready to do our Mando episode.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. So anyway, Willem Dafoe's in this movie. Like on paper, this should work. But like when I was watching this movie, the only thing that kept coming into my head was the steamroller from Austin Powers. And he's just like screaming and it keeps going. He's like, you're going to die in 25 minutes.
No. It's like this thing never ended.
It never ended. And it was constantly just like, are they really in any danger? Is anybody really like they're screaming and they're all scared for their lives, but they're like, you could just get off the boat, like there's nothing going to happen to you. If you get off the boat, you might float around for a couple hours till somebody rescues you.
So I think my favorite part of this movie was the driving test at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
With Tim Conway. That was the only time I was actively engaged in watching this movie.
I feel like that was so cartoonishly bad. Like no one's that bad of a driver.
Yeah. It was over the top. And especially because I was like, oh, it's her character's thing because she was in the first movie. Remember her driving the bus?
And she had to do her expedition dump about why she's not dating Keanu anymore.
Yeah, they had to set that up. Yeah. And I thought the introduction to the new boyfriend, Alex, was just like a cheesy Mission Impossible.
I thought he was supposed to be the same character at the start.
You thought they just recasted him?
Yeah.
They probably should have done that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They probably should.
Like when we were watching this, I turned to Jude and I was like, I really miss Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really wish that he had been a part of this movie, even though I know that, it was smart not to be.
Probably would have ruined his career.
Yeah, so seriously. Speed 2 is like the epitome of what I call a soulless sequel.
Oh, man.
And basically, you can always tell, like, when a sequel is just being, like, manufactured by a studio based off of, like, it's made to sell a soundtrack. And I remember when this movie came out, like,
there's a soundtrack?
UB40 was all over the radio, and then they were really pushing the Speed 2 soundtrack.
Was this about the same time Cocktail came out?
No, Cocktail was in the 80s.
When was this?
This was 90s.
Same thing.
Okay.
It's a whole different decade, baby.
Same shit.
All right. Also, like if you can tell that like a sequel is in an exotic location where the cast and crew are basically getting a paid vacation.
Oh, Sandra Bullock was super tan in this movie.
Dude, when she turned to put that bikini on in the hotel room,
the best part of the movie.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So like that.
How are you doing?
That's a sure sign that like this is a soulless sequel. That's like 90% of Adam Sandler.
That was
thing,
when I tweeted out, man, I would destroy Sandra Bullock.
There's follow Matt Vader's Twitter for some crazy shit.
Can you tell I'm drinking today?
And also, like everyone involved in the movie, if they take paychecks in order to do other passion projects,
yes,
that's a sure sign
that's
of
the
a
key.
sequel. Because both Sandra Bullock and Jason Isaacs only did this movie because they were making enough money to go off and do like other movies that they actually cared about.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock did some kind of romantic comedy or something like this after that. Like there was guarantees in her contract. Like if I do this shitty movie for you, you're gonna let me do this other movie.
So we get to go to the Caribbean. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she got to do Hope Floats.
That's what
this
it is,
movie,
yeah.
and then Jason Patrick got to do Your Friends and Neighbors, and that I think was
Who's Jason Patrick?
He was Alex, the main.
Oh, the boyfriend.
Yeah,
the
main character.
Whatever.
It's always a bad sign when a sequel uses like a whole new main character.
Yeah, it's just. Like, I couldn't even say if he was a main character or not because the movie didn't really focus on him.
Just give her the ring, you pussy. Come on, man. Come on.
And that scene where he gets seasick, like I don't know if you guys have ever been on a cruise ship, but it's impossible to get seasick on a cruise ship because they're so big you don't even feel the motion.
I've never been on one.
My wife and I won't do a cruise.
Yeah, my wife's terrified of cruises too.
I don't do deep water.
Yeah.
The Kraken's gonna come up.
I get seasick on like small boats because you can really feel the waves. But like on a cruise liner, the boats are so big that you don't feel it. So like it's really hard to get seasick on. It
was a weird scene too because he actually had like a bucket of vomit.
Yeah,
and it like the camera like panned.
It looked like real vomit.
Looked like real vomit, and it like camera like lingered on it for a minute.
Well, $160 million movie, you'd think that they could nail the vomit.
It's like somebody like corked some shit up in this bucket.
Who's bulimic?
It's like, all right, good.
But Sandra Bullock has flat out come out in interviews and said that this was like the biggest piece of crap she's ever made.
It was terrible.
She's correct.
So there's something that you taught me, Kadish, about movies that I've kind of hung on to, and I've started to notice it more and more lately, is ADR. So it's like when the on set, you can't get clean sound for the actors' voices. So what you do is you go in post and you have the actors record their lines, and then you just kind of overdub it over the movie. I've never really noticed it before until Kadish started pointing it out to me, like, oh, that's ADR. And I'm like, oh, that's why it's just a little bit off. Like some movies, it's not that bad. This movie was atrocious.
I didn't notice, but I really wasn't paying that close attention.
It was terrible. Like the lips.
It's funny because like the first Speed movie, like 90% of that movie is ADR'd because they're on an actual bus, they're driving around. You got street traffic, you got airplanes flying overhead, stuff like that. So like they had to go back and re-record everyone's dialogue.
Yeah.
In order to just make it like intelligible. I didn't really notice a whole lot of ADR in this movie, but then again, like I was so checked out for most of it.
It was bad. Especially
was it in the scene where he's underwater trying to stop the giant turbines with the rope?
Oh God, we'll talk about that in a minute. No, it was the tropical storm that came in, and it was like real heavy.
Tropical shower.
Yeah, it was real heavy rain, and they were trying to get the safety boats down. It was like that whole big. It was an quote unquote action scene.
Most boring action scene ever.
Most boring action scene ever. Like
for a movie called Speed, there's a lot of slow stuff.
Slow shit.
It's like, hey, look, there's that giant oil tanker 20 miles away.
Yeah, we're gonna hit it in 23 minutes.
What? Can you guys move the oil tanker?
It was just
get a tugboat out there. It'll be there in like an hour. You'll be okay, I promise.
Like they had there was a 5-minute scene where Sandra Bullock had to describe what a grenade was. Do you not know what a grenade is? Like that's just common knowledge. Like, oh, it's a canister. Looks like maybe it's hairspray. Like, what? No, it's a grenade.
I think the best character in the movie was the I don't remember his name, but the fat dude that was stuck. Stuck in the room with all the women that were taking their clothes off.
Yeah.
It's like,
how come she's not taking her clothes off?
Because I don't have any underwear on.
Harvey, he's played by Mike Haggerty.
It's like that's me. That's me if I go on a ship. What's going on?
Did you guys notice that his wife was Colleen Camp?
No, I didn't notice that.
The maid from Clue, and she was she was in Die Hard 3.
Oh wow. She's the.
I like that dude.
You liked him?
I liked him. Yeah.
He's got.
I relate to that guy.
He's got like a weird child molester mustache. He just looks all sweaty and doughy.
Doughy. That's a good word for it.
That's a good description to me.
Yeah. The other one that was doughy was the redheaded chick that was like on the cruise just drinking and partying the whole time, and she was like the fake fear in this movie is terrible. Like everybody's screaming.
Was the deaf girl really deaf?
Yeah, she was.
Well, she's the luckiest person on the production.
Yeah,
because she didn't have to hear any of the bullshit.
Oh man, there was
like in the first Speed, you really get to know the people on the bus and like their characters, and you kind of like them. In this movie, every single time they tried to do that with the passengers,
you just hated
it was just annoying.
Yeah, these are just obnoxious.
Like that scene Alex was talking about where they're trying to get on the escape boat on the life raft, and it's kind of funny because Jason Patrick, in order to save the photographer guy, he like jumps onto like the
super
boat,
heroic jump guy,
and then
it's in slow motion.
Yeah,
and then Sandra Bullock's just like, oh, can we just move the gangplank here? And they just like
move that thing down. Everybody will be okay. Just move it over here.
But you can tell like how like unplanned this movie was, because whenever you do slow motion in post-production, like it's very obvious because like you have to repeat the frames, and so it has like this choppier look than real slow motion, like when you actually shoot it in the camera. And you can tell that like they just shot this scene, they didn't know what they were doing, and in post they were like, oh, we should really slow this part down because
it'll make it look more dramatic.
And it's the most awkward jump
it's terrible
I've ever seen in a film.
It's not an action hero jump.
No, it's not.
All. This movie failed on so many levels, and it's so sad because
who is this guy?
Jason Patrick.
Has he been in other stuff?
Yeah,
The Boys.
Yeah, no, he was in that vampire movie, The Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
Who was he in?
The main dude.
He was the main
Eric or
main
Kevin
brother.
or whatever the hell his name was.
He was the head brother, the older brother.
That's the older brother from Lost Boys.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Yep.
Jason Patrick.
See, my mind is blown.
I know, it's crazy.
He has way more forehead in this movie.
He needs
and chest hair.
It's like I was just calling him, fake Bill Paxton. But,
no, that's the dude from Lost Boys.
Wow.
Wow.
I need more bourbon.
So let's talk about Willem Dafoe. Because I don't think you can go wrong with Willem Dafoe.
I just see the Joker.
Yeah, he just kind of went.
He's got that crazy ass look to him,
the eyes and the smile.
He's a psycho looking dude.
And he really hams it up in this movie.
Oh yeah,
too. It's funny. I saw this movie in the theaters, and me and my film school buddies, like we always used to joke about how he delivered that tropical shower line, where he's out there. He had just killed the captain of the boat
in the most awkward way possible.
Yeah, like he has this. He has this stationary light that is hooked to the side of the boat,
and he just keeps.
And I keep telling the captain, I'm like, just step back, two steps. He can't
away.
use it against you. He's powerless against you. And the captain like lunges to him, and he uses this thing to like knock him overboard.
Oh, it's so bad.
It was so dumb. And then right after he does that, these two drunk women come up and they're like, "Oh, Captain, can we get a picture with you?" And he's like, "Sure." And then it starts raining, and he's like, he looks up and he's like, "Oh, nice tropical shower."
So weird.
And he's got the douchiest hairdo.
Oh yeah, his long,
the 90s long hair.
Yeah.
No, it's not even 90s long. It's like 80s mullet. It's like Euro mullet.
But his character, the motivation behind his character is hilarious. Because I kind of made a joke about this in the first movie because I didn't like the first movie either, and you guys were trashing me for it. But like the disgruntled employee is like a trope for the Speed franchise. He used to work for the cruise line industry.
I designed these computer programs that run these ships.
They just threw me away. And the reason was because what he said was he got some kind of a disease from working with electronics too much. And I'm like, that's a very 90s thing to say.
And he has to put leeches on himself.
Oh yeah,
in order to purify his blood,
clean his blood.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
No,
do people do this?
No, that is a thing.
That is a thing, but
it's leech therapy.
No, but just like, are there like a mental disorder where you keep leeches at your house? Just like,
it's supposedly supposed to like clean your blood out. But
I get that.
But that's what like your kidneys are for. So I don't know what the reason was.
I use leeches all the time at home.
Oh yeah,
I put on my COVID my COVID bird beak mask, and I put leeches.
Your plague doctor mask.
Put leeches on my nipples. Oh yeah,
He's got like
get rid of that COVID. That's it.
So I don't know, like if you guys remember when we did Die Hard Week, we talked about how
I'm done.
we talked about how the script for Die Hard 3 was originally going to be this movie.
Oh yes,
And,
yeah.
and then
Die Hard
and
3, which that was.
that was Die Hard with a Vengeance.
With a Vengeance.
Yeah, the one we talked about
And,
last week.
and when McTiernan came on, he kind of poo-pooed that script, and it went on to get developed into this movie. And this is what we got. So this could have been Die Hard 3.
I think it would have been
Speed 2, slow motion. Hey, that ship's going towards the shore. It's going 14 miles per hour. It's 80 miles out.
So I gotta say, yeah, it literally was going 14 knots or whatever, which is like not very fast at all. So I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about Tamora Morrison as the first mate, which I think is probably the best actor in this movie.
Because he's Boba Fett.
Because he's Boba Fett and he's awesome. And I think I believed him in his role more than anybody
I
else.
did. At least he sort of tried to act.
Yeah, and he seemed like he was competent. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to direct the rest of the crew to kind of save the ship. And yes, yada,
Who was
yada.
the other dude? The long-haired dude?
Oh, the Irish dude?
Yeah.
I don't know, but he was super annoying.
Wasn't he New Zealander?
Who?
I thought this was a New Zealand ship. I felt like these were all a bunch of Kiwis.
I think he was Irish.
Yeah, he was Irish.
Yeah, he was. His character's name was Merst.
Merst?
Yeah.
Interesting name.
That sounds like something I just did in my pants. But sorry, guys, I just immersed myself.
But Boba Fett was awesome
No
in this
laughs. I
movie.
got nothing from that.
Sorry.
Not funny?
No.
I bet you somebody out there is going to think that's funny.
I hope.
If you thought that was funny, please let us know on Twitter. Okay.
You want me to leave it in then?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll leave that
Immersed. I just immersed myself.
Okay. So
See, now you're laughing.
I gotta try and recover from that. That's why, how do I get back on topic?
Shouldn't give me Jack Daniels in the morning.
I can't wait to talk about Mando with you. Okay, so let's talk about the stopping the propellers, because this was one of the ideas. So
bad.
So Willem Dafoe had set the computer to like automatic, and he broke everything so that like the ship could only go full speed with one propeller and no rudder. So it was just going out of control.
Yeah.
And the hero's idea was like,
Going 12 miles per hour.
we're gonna wrap a rope around the propeller. And he's like, you can't do that. You'll go into the boat and you'll die. And he's like, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
So they get their gear.
Not Keanu Reeves.
They get their scuba gear or whatever, and they go and he jumps underneath this giant cruise liner, and he tries to stop the propeller by using a rope that's like an inch thick.
So at this point, I was just full into Twitter chat. I gave zero shits about this movie at that point.
And the weird thing was,
I looked up and they're trying to like stop a propeller with a rope.
Yeah. It was
like
rough.
I'm like, what is going on?
You don't need a person to go under the boat to feed that rope into it. Like, you just need to feed the rope under the boat, and it would eventually get caught up in that.
You'd think.
And then the dumbass
turbine
gets stuck between the rope and the boat while the thing's getting stuck in the propeller.
He'd be dead.
It would decapitate him. He would be shark chum.
Yeah.
And Sandra Bullock's character just gets kidnapped, and she's just like useless for the entire third act.
Oh, Sandra Bullock gets sidelined. For
I'm
this
just gonna hang out on this boat with bad guy.
Willem Dafoe.
Don't look at me like that.
She does get a couple of good punches in, though. I gotta give her that. But yeah, like if your idea for this movie was like, we're gonna get Sandra Bullock, who was in the first movie and played a pretty key role, and put her in the second movie and then sideline her for half of it, and she just plays like the dumb damsel in distress half the time. It was kind of insulting.
It was.
I was like,
It was a waste of her talent.
yeah, I was like, this is Sandra freaking Bullock, dude. I mean,
She drove the bus in the first movie, for God's sake.
right? She should be driving the boat.
That's right.
and it's funny because like they really did try to get Keanu Reeves back for this movie. They offered him $12 million. And he was like, okay, I'll read the script. And he read the script, and he was like, this is shit.
This is terrible.
This is terrible.
So like he went on to do the Devil's Advocate instead, because he was like, should I act alongside Pacino or do Speed 2?
I could
I wonder what the better idea would be.
Yeah. So he basically went out to do, like, he had just done Chain Reaction. He didn't want to do another big action movie. So he went off to do The Devil's Advocate. And during this time, he was also, I don't know if you guys remember this, he used to be in a band. It was called Dog Star. He was like a bassist in this band. And so like he went on tour with his band. And the studio that made this movie, I think it was Paramount. I'm not sure, but they were like really pissed that like he had turned down this movie, and in order to like do The Devil's Advocate and go touring with his band. So they started like bad mouthing his band,
The studio did?
The studio did. They started like spreading all these like rumors about like, you know, like how terrible the band was and stuff like that.
What the hell?
And Keanu Reeves got really pissed about it.
I mean, I don't remember any big hits from the Dog Star.
No, I think mostly because he pissed off the studio. Like they kind of buried this band.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
that's dick moves.
I don't think he's in it anymore. But like, you know, I remember around the time this movie came out, like he had like a full beard and he had like the ski cap on.
He's going through his grunge phase.
He was like the bassist for this band.
Nice. I might need to go check that out now. Let's see if we can get it for the podcast intro music.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Shit.
Yeah, but he turned down a $12 million payday.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
I think
This
you
movie
made
was
the right.
trash.
I think you made the right move.
All right.
Totally did.
The last thing I want to talk about, of course, sequence of events happens. Bad guy loses. The plane exploding.
There's two more things I want to talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to talk about all the dumbasses in the catamarans and stuff, where the boat's going 5 miles per hour through the marina.
Yeah.
And they're all just getting ran over and dying left and right. It's like, oh God!
Can we talk about the literal oh shit moment?
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Like every single character that has ever been on screen
hilarious.
That's still alive says oh shit.
Yes.
And I'm like, what are we doing?
We're saying oh shit.
It was terrible.
Miss Katie, she got to get an oh shit in.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And what they were saying that for was because they were about ready to hit the dock for this main like marina town area that they were going to. And one of I was broken way before this happened.
I was so broken.
But
It's so broken.
by the time we got to this point, I was like, oh, good Lord, they're really going to go all the way, aren't they?
Like, what's going to happen here?
The ship. So if you guys remember in Jurassic World movie where the ship comes in with the T-Rex and it crashes,
that's a pretty cool scene.
And it crashes into the deck, right?
Yeah.
This giant freaking ship stops like not that far into land because it can't be on land. The ship in Speed 2, this sucker goes all the way in, like the full length of the ship.
It's like a tsunami coming in.
It was like, when is this thing going to stop?
4 miles per hour.
And like they had scenes
3
where
miles per hour.
people they literally did that too on screen.
2 miles per hour.
And Boba Fett the whole time is going, we're still going too fast.
1 mile per hour. Oh,
it was so bad.
Finally, we stopped.
And there was a kid. It's a bell at the end.
It's like, get the fuck out of here.
And you know what's crazy is like,
And then the movie still wasn't over.
No, it wasn't over.
There was 20 minutes left in the movie.
but that boat, crashing into the St. Martin, dock.
Yeah,
that's the world record for the most expensive, special effect ever made.
World record.
Did they really crash a ship?
They did.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I love it.
Wait, seriously? I thought that was a miniature.
No, that was a full sized boat that they rammed into a part of the city that they built.
That's pretty cool.
And all those buildings collapsing and stuff, that was real.
What?
It's so dumb.
Oh my God.
I think they spent like crazy amounts of money.
I take it back.
There's your budget.
That's commitment, man. I take it back. That was a great scene.
Were they like getting ready to mothball this ship or something? Is that
well, no, they built a fake front of the ship and they had it on rails and they pushed it through this city that they built.
Oh my God.
What a wonderful movie.
At 4 miles per hour.
At 4 miles per hour. And we got Toon Man back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who was that? That was a dude with the Jaguar in the first movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was random as hell, dude.
Super random.
Glenn Plummer reprised his role as Maurice, aka Toon Man.
Wasn't he the dude that was the dance choreographer in Showgirls?
I don't know.
He might have been.
He kind of looked like him, huh?
Yeah, but we also got Joe Morton as Mac back for like one shot. He showed up for one shot in the movie just to introduce Alex. He's like, okay, Alex, don't Daredevil stuff.
Yeah. He's the police officer guy. Yeah.
It's like, I appreciated the continuity.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Well, that's why I thought that Keanu was like, this guy was supposed to be the same character.
I really would have preferred him to just for them to like have recast, Jack from the first movie.
I'm just going to say for my, like, we're going to do final thoughts in a second. Because I can't talk about this movie anymore. I don't know why this is a sequel to Speed. Like, this could be a movie all on its own.
Like I said, Speed 2, slow motion.
It doesn't need to be a sequel to Speed. It can be a completely different movie.
But they needed to cash in on Speed. So one of the problems with like movies like Escape from LA and Independence Day Resurgence is they waited too long.
Yes.
between movies where the kind of buzz of the original faded far too much.
Looking at you, Avatar.
Yeah.
God, they still aren't out.
It's been like 20 years.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, somebody made a fancy computer graphic.
Yeah. Those movies are going to bomb.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell James Cameron.
Nobody's going to care. But so with this movie, like it came out, I think, within 2 years of Speed.
Well, that's okay.
And they basically they wanted to push it out in order to capitalize on how good the first one was.
Speed 2, cash grab.
Even the music in this movie wasn't very good.
Oh, the music was terrible.
Yeah, because like the first movie,
UB40, man, don't dog on me.
But the first movie had that dun 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 dun, dun, and I think the only time that theme was used was at the beginning when they were using the motorcycle to chase down that diaper van.
This movie's trash from the very beginning.
It's really bad. And
bad.
like I know Jude's not here because she had an emergency she had to attend to, but like she hated this movie.
Oh gosh.
I so wish she would have been here for this.
Yeah, like she had some strong words to say about this film. like that whole part where Alex is using his keen deductive skills to be like, that guy who was concerned about his golf clubs hasn't once watched that golf game.
Yeah.
It's like, have you watched golf? It's really boring.
Yeah.
I forgot he tried to play detective for like 15 minutes.
I think in my head, this is one of the worst sequels ever made.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's really bad. It's up there for sure.
I was angry last night.
Like I didn't even
had to watch this thing. I texted Amazon telling them I want my money back.
I didn't even like the first one. Like I know I kind of got shit from you guys for not liking the first one, but this one makes the first one look like freaking gold.
Yeah, a masterpiece.
Yeah, it really does.
It's because it is a masterpiece.
I could go back and watch that first one and be like,
you're using my words, Vader. A masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. Back in Hollywood.
I used to text Keanu Reeves on the weekend.
Back when I hung out with, Hawkeye.
Jeremy Renner.
All right.
I know his name.
Final thoughts, Vader, on Speed 2 Cruise Control. Garbage.
Pure, unadulterated, light it on fire.
Let it die.
Biggest match you can find garbage.
Yeah. I want my $3.99 back.
It's a 0-star shit fest. Yeah. Awful.
Right on.
Awful movie. I'm embarrassed for Sandra Bullock.
She's probably embarrassed.
Yes.
Kadish.
Even though she was pretty hot.
Oh, she was gorgeous in the movie.
She looked good in a bikini.
Kadish, final thoughts on Speed 2 Cruise Control.
So I just don't think Jason Patrick is a good action star. Like he's never really been cast as like an action type guy. He was always more of a dramatic actor.
How do you like your worms, Michael? Maggots. See, I just can't get that Lost Boys out of my head now.
Yeah, and he's so low charisma.
Yeah, there's no charm.
Like, there's something about Keanu where you're just like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Jason Patrick, he's just so milquetoast. Yeah. He's like, you don't really feel anything about him. And he was just so awkward in this movie. And Willem Dafoe was just like such an overactor in this film.
Oh yeah. He knew it was bad though.
Yeah.
I think he knew it was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
So he just hammed it up.
But you get like full blown crazy Dafoe eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised there's not more memes about that.
When the oil tanker blew up, that was pretty impressive.
That was a big.
That was all
big.
CGI.
Yeah, I know. It was just, but it was pretty impressive. And then, like a split second after it blows up, they're just kind of cruising through the water, like nothing happened. On my cruise boat, on my speedboat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, "Holy shit! That oil tanker just blew up! Ecological disaster."
Yeah. No, they're good.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The fucking
oil
nuclear
is,
bomb just blew up behind you.
I'm not sure oil is that explosive.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, of course not. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Terrible movie.
Yeah.
Not fun at all. Not even a guilty pleasure level.
Who made us watch this one?
It was just part of the group.
It's like if it was one of you guys, you're banned.
Well,
you're banned for picking movies
because we did Speed, and this was like terrible sequel week, so we had to pick Speed too.
Yeah,
I guess it did kind of fit in the.
Of all the terrible sequels we watched, this was definitely the worst.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd give it 1 boat out of 5.
Yeah, this is one.
I mean,
one nipple leech out of 5.
I think I'd rather go watch Porky's 2.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
That's
we'll talk
the
later.
sequel to Porky's.
Ooh.
80s teen sex comedy.
All right, guys, that's it for our discussion on terrible sequels. I hope you enjoyed it and had a good time. I hope you were drunk as we are.
Wait, were there boobs? There's no boobs.
There's no boobs in any of these movies.
I can't even give it half a star.
Yeah, it's terrible. So join us next week. What are we doing next week? Does anybody remember?
We are doing Christmas horror movies.
Oh, that's right.
We're getting totally cheesy with Christmas.
Yes,
Christmas
there's
horror
one
movies.
movie in particular that I can't wait to watch, and it's got William Shatner in it.
The Shat is back.
So join us next week.
At this time next week, we're going to hate each other.
Probably.
Why did you make me watch this?
This movie's terrible.
This is terrible. I'm getting into divorce now because my wife watched this one.
We got to bring eggnog next week so we can all
And
get
then we're
blitzed.
doing a retrospective episode for the end of the year.
Yeah, guys. So we're going to take a little bit of a break at the end of the year with the holidays and family obligations and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. We're going to take a break as a crew to just kind of hang out with our families and not record for a week. But we pre-recorded something that we're going to release just so that there's content out there for you guys to enjoy. And we'll catch you guys back after that in the new year, 2021. Hopefully it's better than the last year that we've had. But look forward to new content coming next year. We really appreciate all of our listeners. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every week.
Maybe they'll get to look at us next year.
Maybe. We could do video.
Yeah,
Good.
2021 might be the year of the Salty Nerd.
I'm going video.
I'm going to have to go buy a helmet or something.
I might wear my Mando helmet for the first couple of times.
What's up, guys?
But anyway, thank you guys as always, and thank you for a great year of having fun with us talking about movies. We hope we have a great holiday season and a great new year, and just drink responsibly and all that nonsense. You know how you get it. Where can we find everybody on the socials for the break? Where can we find you, Matt Vader?
Oh, you can find me at Matt Vader 74 on Twitch and Twitter. Is there other stuff with a T?
No. Parlor?
Tumblr?
Instagram? Tumblr? What's Tumblr? People do Tumblr?
Rumble. We're on Rumbler now, I guess.
Rumble.
Oh, okay. Kadish is taken over the whole video side of things, so he's got.
But mostly Twitter and Twitch.
Right on. And
if you're into World of Warcraft, that's what I'm doing right now. So
I was watching you yesterday.
And,
it's cool.
I made a Teespring. Is it Teespring?
TeePublic.
TeePublic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put some stuff up on there.
Right on.
Come, give me some cheddar.
Buy some merch.
Put my face on your T-shirt. Yeah.
Right on. Matthew Kadish, where can they find you at?
So they can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter and Parler. And also kadishbooks.com will take you to my Amazon page where you can check out my books. And if you want to check out Jude, you can find her at IamJudeJuju on Twitter and Instagram.
Right on. And I am your host, The Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter over the holiday season at salty_nerd. Talk movies and all kinds of cool stuff. All right, guys, we'll catch you next week and have a great holiday.
Shop amazing specials now while supplies last at Macy's Gifts You'll Love to Give sale. Like great deals on coats for him and her from Calvin Klein, Anne Klein, and more top designers. Just $100 and under. Save big on handbags and wallets, now 40% off. And create a cozy retreat at home with 70% off warm throws and flannel bedding from Martha Stewart Collection. Now through Thursday at Macy's. Plus, get $10 in Macy's money for every $50 spent. Up to $40 Macy's money.
Looking for your next great hire? CareerBuilder is the fastest growing job site in the U.S. with over 140 million candidate profiles and growing. Plus, candidates on CareerBuilder have skills for the most in-demand occupations. Let us help you rebuild and rehire a strong, more diverse workforce fast. CareerBuilder, we're building for you. Visit hiring.careerbuilder.com/recruit.